Okay. Hello, Pardo. How are you today?
Hey, Abhishek, I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I am good. I'm good. Thank you. So, I've heard a lot of good things about you, but I would like to quickly, if you could introduce yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Pardo. I'm the CEO and founder of Trinium Labs. We're developing an AI copilot that'll help you find and execute on profitable investments across all different market categories. And so, yeah.
So that sounds really exciting. And I heard that you've recently gone through Techstars.
Yes. So we just wrapped up our cohort through Techstars, which is like a 3.5 month program for us. And we were exposed to several different mentors. They basically give you like this whole boost start to help you kick up momentum, identify, like how it is that you're going to, reach product market fit for your particular product or service that you're looking to offer, whether it would be more appealing to the B2B or the B2C elements. And they basically they give you all the resources that they have at their disposal to help you push that momentum as much as you can. So, yeah.
Okay, that sounds exciting. So the key thing which I wanted to talk to you about today, because you're building this application, is that, if you look at the world around us, there's a lot happening around AI. But then on the other side, there are still a lot many people who are struggling financially. They may be excluded from the system. So how can data technology come together to drive inclusion? And I see that through this solution that you're building, there could be there could be help to many people who kind of don't know where to go. So can you talk about how did you come up with this idea? What was the big problem that you found thinking around this 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 challenge of inclusion?
Yeah, absolutely. Inclusion's a big one because during my time at PayPal, it's a small story before getting to the whole point is that during my time at PayPal for new hires, especially at least for engineering hires, they would give you a task during like your orientation. They would
Okay.
give you a check and they'd say,
Mm-hmm.
you can't use an ID. We're going to cut you like $150 check. Go and try and cash this check and go out. And they would send you outside the building. You'd have to
Okay.
go out and find a way to cash that check. And that's when you really find out how extremely difficult it is for those people that, may not have the sorts of IDs that certain banks are looking for, or credentials, or they're not banking somewhere specifically, how exceptionally difficult it is for them to actually cash the $150 check. So that gave us perspective. They're like, now you understand like the sorts of people, the sorts of demographics that we want to appeal to, and we want to build out this inclusive platform so that anyone can bank efficiently and effortlessly, make issue payments, and so on. And so that was something that was that sort of characteristic that was embedded within me very early during my time at PayPal. But the way I got to building Trinium Labs is that I was day trading at the time. So being a technical person, I was able to learn the technical indicators, the various strategies, and ingest all of this massive information and how to execute it effectively and take the emotional element out of it just because of my engineering mindset. But I found out that there were a lot of people out there that were struggling, especially during my time at PayPal. I had exposure to people that were day trading, that were like, dabbling in the markets. And I found out that they were having issues with on three different main categories that they were having like the most issues with. And it was being able to find the tools out in the marketplace were still too complex for them. Learning technical indicators, how to use them, how to configure them, and so on. Finding opportunities was exceptionally difficult for them. That was another one. So learning these technical indicators, how to configure complicated search queries and using these other tools and piecing data together from various different elements. That was another one. And then the third one was when they had all the data staring at them in the face saying, this looks like a good opportunity to invest or execute my day trade or so on, they lacked the conviction to execute on their trade or their investment. And I thought to myself, that's funny because that resonates deeply with me because when I was starting off with my investment and day trading journey, those
Right.
were all of the issues that I was having. So at the time, I'd been building my own technical indicators, abbreviating the complexity of a lot of different things that I thought were just doing too much or very ambiguous in some ways, or just giving you false positives in some form, shape or another. And I was also building my own search engine to help me figure out, what are the best opportunities to unleash my bots and my high frequency trading systems on to, and then I just keep an eye on it throughout the day during my
Got
time
it.
at work.
So is it good to say then that you have kind of, given your experience in building tech products and your understanding of, okay, there is this information available out there, but there is no easy access to this information. So now
That
you are creating a solution where you're giving easy access, but at the same time you're not losing the power of what is usually maybe available to very high net worth individuals or through highly sophisticated, investment firms. So are you going to then, can I say that, is it going to democratize access? That means to
Yeah,
educate people?
absolutely. That's the goal. And that's you're spot on. It's that I decided during when the first white paper started coming out and the first of the GPTs started making it out into the marketplace, I figured, wow, this was like the last missing puzzle piece where we can abbreviate all this complexity of having to learn these different tools, how to configure them, and so on. And just through natural language alone, just have something interact with you and clarify, help you with your indecision, help you with your execution. It has this massive knowledge base, this repertoire of knowledge base that it could reach out to, and being able to distill that information out to anyone in a way that they can understand. So if you're looking to ask like, hey, what's a good strategy to, I'm looking to save $100 every week over the next, 6 months. What's a good strategy that I should be able to consider and execute on? Have something communicate with you in a way that you understand that, hey, these are the risks that are involved, but this is also the potential upside. And you come up with that decision. Okay, this is my risk appetite, and this is how I'm going to try and invest. But back in the day, that was impossible. You'd have to like read
Yeah.
a bunch of different books. You'd have to go to the bank, have this really overbearing discussion with your technical advisor, and then kind of rinse and repeat that process. And it was just very tedious and arduous.
So you think that these Gen AI based applications or AI in general could be really a friend rather than a foe in helping people and driving inclusion? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. There are certainly the upsides certainly outweigh the negatives. What we have to do this right. It absolutely see it as a friend, being as a huge benefit to anyone that wants to be able to invest and effectively invest or trade any particular market. And on top of that, it's a very powerful educational tool because as they're going about their endeavors and figuring out how am I going to invest this or how am I going to trade this or how am I going to save over time, they intuitively we know that okay, these are the sorts of questions I want to ask and I want clarity with. Having something give you that clarity and you learning at the same time is very powerful. And so I think that whole aspect is extremely beneficial to folks that may not necessarily know like, hey, what are these super advanced tools or what are you doing behind the scenes? They don't need to know all these things. But if you have that sort of question, having it distill that information out to you in a way that you can understand so that you're confident in your decision or your move, I think is a very powerful tool.
Okay, so what I can see is that you're trying to break down barriers for a lot of people now. So how hard is it?
Yeah. I think with any new bleeding edge tool that ends up at the forefront of an industry, there's a little bit of hesitation from people in general because they don't know, it's so new. They don't know, is this ultimately going to be for my benefit or is it going to be to my detriment? It's something so new. I'm unfamiliar with it. I don't know. And uh,
Hmm.
in our primal instinct when something new that we don't understand is to kind of like, step away from it and kind of be a little worried about it. So the most important part of this whole journey right now is going to be in educating people how to use this new era of artificially enhanced tools to either trade or learn or invest or do a variety of different things that we're now seeing emerge out in the marketplaces in various industries that are starting to implement these tools.
Okay, that's true. I think in a way I see that there are a lot of assumptions people have because people have been doing things in a certain way, and you're trying to challenge those assumptions, and that always leads to the to progress. Okay, that's where how we go forward. But so so how are you doing today? Like what is how what is your what is the next step in your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. We actually just launched about a month ago in open beta. We've had our first subset of users start. We've had over 800 interactions with our AI now. We've had over 700 chart interactions, over 600 search queries. So they're using the tool and we're seeing a lot of engagement. So we're seeing that there is this subset, this group out there that is seeing the benefit of these tools. Ultimately, we're going to be working on implementing paper trading so that they can test out their conviction on a variety of different trades that they may have considered in the past and they weren't sure of, but they would like to see how it would have worked out, in the future. And then we're going to be working on exchange integration so that they can actually trade with their own brokers. They can bring in over their API keys and trade with either their Coinbase or stock accounts. And then I think the most important thing is that we do want to continue making enhancements to our AI and our agent architecture so that we can increase the accuracy, the inference range and accuracy of a lot of the analysis that it's beginning to distill out to our users. And I think those are the next major milestones that we're looking to reach.
I think that's phenomenal. I think you're trying to help a lot of people, and I see non-technical people if they get to use it, interact with the product in a normal conversational way, get answers. Oh, this is what I'm worried about. Should I invest or not invest, or this or where should I invest? A lot of questions, right?
Right.
So I think it's looking like it looks like a very promising tool. Uh, So, and I think the key thing is for me is that where do you see yourself? What's your big goal or what's your vision? This is what I, this is what, where, what you want to achieve truly.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. Things are changing so quickly lately in the industry that it impacts your overall vision in some way, shape, or form. But we ultimately do want to build the most advanced, investment and trading copilot ever to exist. We want to
Mm,
be able to, if you really think about it, these are technologies that hedge funds have had, over the last, 2 decades. But it has been very expensive to deploy and operate at scale because you need people that have the intellectual aptitude, the know-how, and so on to build these systems. And then you need to be able to deploy and maintain them at scale where there's a very high cost. But all of that with the emergence of AI and these large language models and the way we can run inference and compute, it has become very cheap to be able to deploy these systems, these very sophisticated or comparable systems now at scale. In my company, and I'm sure there are going to be others, we're going to be the first few that are where you're going to see those sorts of bleeding edge technologies that have already existed, making their way out into the marketplace, at least in the B2C space. And so, yeah, but we do want to become the co-pilot that helps anyone everywhere being able to effectively invest across a variety of different markets, especially now where you're seeing, Gen Z and millennials invest more than any other generation in history. And there's, this whole story behind the scenes over like why they're vigorously day trading and investing now. And
yeah,
and
it's
so
everything is has to be quick, right? But yeah, you have to prevent the emotion taking over.
that's
So okay,
exactly it.
as long as there is sound data underlying any decision making, okay, you can you're in a good place basically.
Exactly. But they're going out and they're using these tools across different platforms, and you're noticing that, bam, they're
Yeah,
immediately alienated because these tools are just so complex to use,
yeah,
or they just don't have the time to learn and configure or learn
right.
what the math is that's happening behind these tools. And so, and then even for veteran investors, if you ask them, you never hear veteran day traders, investors tell you, this tool's too easy for me to use. I hate it. They'll never hear that. And
That's
so
true.
if you can simplify all that complexity, yet make sure that the math behind the scenes is just as robust as what hedge funds are using, and it helps you effectively invest, I think that you're moving the needle in a very positive way and having a very positive change for people in one of the most intimate element of people's lives, and that's, their financial lives. And so that's ultimately the milestone that I'm looking to reach with the company and our AI and our platform. And yeah, we're working very hard towards it.
That's awesome, Pardo. Yeah, really a pleasure to speak to you and best of luck to you. I think this is a very good example of how you were able to challenge the assumption that there is a solution out there and it's not accessible. This is very technical. This is very hard to do. You challenge that, and now you're helping break down that barrier for many people who never had access to this, could potentially
Right,
have access to that very in affordable way. And that's, I think, the key goal of technology: how you bring the data, underlying data, how you use technology to create access. And that's where truly the innovation happens. And when that happens, that leads ultimately to financial wealth creation and inclusion. So yeah, this
right.
is phenomenal. I again wish you the best for this journey,
Thank you.
and hope that you succeed very very soon.
Thank you, Abhishek. I very much so appreciate it. Thanks for your time and having me.
Thank you.